Ahead and call this meeting to order. Let's all please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, we need to do a roll call. So let me see here. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Schneider.
Here.
That works. Alderman Simpson.
Yes.
Alderman Saunders.
Yes.
Alderman Osborne. Alderman Quinn. City Attorney will not be attending tonight. He called.
So only the S's are here tonight. Saunders, Simpsons,
What's
Schneider, Smith.
Oh heck, yes.
4 S's.
I'm not sure if that means something. Or... All right. So first thing we have on the agenda is new business. This is going to be what's titled Utility Policy Ordinance Review. And I believe that Alderman Simpson
Yes.
is.
I distributed to council members present and also to Danette a proposed user rate structure that has some modifications to it. It talks basically about residential contributors' monthly user charges will be based on actual water usage through the water meter on the basis of per 1,000 gallons metered. For industrial commercial contributors, user charges shall be based on water used during the current month. If a commercial or industrial contributor has a consumptive use of water or in some other manner uses water which is not returned to the wastewater collection system, the user charge for that contributor may be based on either 1, wastewater meter or separate water meter installed and maintained at the contributor's expense and in a manner acceptable to the city, which is our sewer saver program. Or 2, for industrial or commercial users with an average monthly water usage of over 250,000 gallons, actual water usage less an annual percentage volume reduction, based upon an acceptable and verifiable analysis as determined by the majority vote of the board. So it's either 1 or 2 of those reasons we reduce the wastewater bill. In order, if we went with number 2, if the user fell on number 2, which is over 250,000 gallons per month of water usage, there would be a percentage-based volume reduction rebate to be credited against utility bills in the first quarter of the fiscal year, with any remainder carried forward as an additional credit. It would be up to the council's discretion to determine what a verifiable and acceptable analysis would be, and would also be up to the council to establish the credit percentage. It's open for discussion.
Okay, I'm going to ask my friends on the board, in order to maintain order and not talk over each other, if you please request to be recognized by the chair prior to speaking, and then only allow one person to speak at a time if you don't mind. So let's get started. Yes.
Bill.
How are you going to base the percentage?
The council would determine that.
By what means?
A vote of the council.
Just
It would be standardized.
yeah. What information do you have to tell you how much?
You mean what percentage?
Yeah.
Whether it be 5% or 30%?
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Mr. Quinn.
We presented the data. I mean, like each one of us would be individual, or not specific to this particular thing. But we went online and found like data, like extensive amounts of data showing what is like what doesn't go in the sewer system, so on and so forth, with our particular type of facility. So I'm assuming that with your all's facilities, more than likely they've done it with your all's facilities too, your all's type of facilities.
Because they're the same, but not.
No, I mean like Ours are all open air, outdoor bays. One's automatic, loses a heck of a lot more than the other ones. So if you'd be in-house, I mean, like if you're all inside, it would be different for sure. Because you wouldn't be losing all the evaporative stuff. It'd still be going down, I mean, it's going to be, you can do the same work we do is what I'm saying, because you'll be able to find it.
In wintertime,
Yeah,
Never. We have one door closed.
the north door.
You have one door closed.
So you won't have the south door closed,
We don't have south.
even with you.
We won't have south.
So who put this information? Where do I look for this information?
Well, you can get our information from us because I've already given it all to them. Lori's got it somewhere.
Where did it come from?
Online.
I know that you can get anything online. I mean,
Well, no, they're like studies done by.
yeah, studies.
Yes, there's studies done by different entities. Some of them are about the car wash people. Some of them are from universities. I mean, I don't know. There's numerous. I mean, there's numerous different ones that say what it is. Like there's studies that show like all different types of car washes too. So you could have tunnels. You could have, numerous different.
I'm not that you're not barking up the right tree, but I'm just thinking this, for the council in the city, it's gonna be a nightmare. They have to go through every business and decide what percent you're not gonna send down
Well,
the sewer.
There's only a qualifier. The biggest qualifier is the average monthly water usage of over 250,000 gallons.
Do we use over 250,000 gallons a month?
This was the
I
number.
don't know if I do either.
This was the number I was given.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
water.
I don't think anybody uses over 200. I mean, I'm assuming we don't.
I
250,000
don't
a year. That seems extremely too high. I mean, that's like you're just trying to make an ordinance that doesn't, do anything for anybody.
Honestly, I consulted with Vince about this.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Or could it be, I mean, I don't know how much you all use either.
I'll just look it up, I
But you estimated 350
Well,
gallons
that's what they told me, 350 gallons per truck, I watched it.
per wash per week.
Not counting the other one.
Vince is supposed to be here in a couple minutes, so you might be able to answer that too.
So you gotta use so much to qualify.
Yes.
So I may be short, but he still gets a break.
Well, I mean, it's based on usage.
No, that's what's in the proposed ordinance.
It's only proposed. I mean,
I know, that's what I'm arguing.
Yeah.
So what kind of trucks do you have?
Oh, 24.
I mean, I don't know how much water people use, but like 50,000 gallons seems like a huge amount to me that if you are losing it in the sewer, you'd be able to get some off of. I mean, like, let's just say you're using 50 and we're using 250.
Well, let's just use simple math. If I'm using 350 gallon truck, let's say I do 25 trucks a week. That's 8,750 gallon times 4 weeks. 35,000, I'm always a quarter million.
Do we use 250,000 gallons of water a year?
Using 1 million gallons.
A month? We better check to make sure we ain't got a leak.
We do occasionally approve the leaks not being charged in this area.
Their ordinance is stating 250,000 gallons or more per month, but their concerns is maybe they don't use 250,000 gallons or other people.
Well, I
Is it a million a month or a million a year?
it's $1 million a month. I mean, our utility bills about 10, our sewer bills about, it's 11 cents per 1,000 gallons. So, yeah, it's like 800 total. Yeah. But I think, is that the reason there, just so that,
Well, their concerns is that they're using 250,000. That was my concern too, because I didn't think we did. But it's still.
I don't know. How would they?
That just sounds like a lot of water.
And I mean, from the council side, and I see council side, Robin's the one who's presented this initial one for our review for this. Part of that was to answer your question, because that's one of our concerns is we don't probably have capacity either as council or as the city, like utilities tracking to have, 500 different, reductions for, 500 different customers that have a lot of deals. So that was one thought to limit the scope of the change if we did.
Because at 250,000 gallons, I mean, depending on what your discount rate is, you're kind of below $1,000 a year. The savings.
How much will you save a year?
It depends. I guess it depends on what.
Oh, the percent.
For these guys, they were at current usage. We estimated a couple times somewhere around $4,000 a year.
Yeah, around $3,000. Yeah.
That's what all this is about, is $3,000 a year.
Yeah, it's really not that big a deal other than we don't want to be paying something that we're going to use. And
I say you done took up $2,000 worth of council time.
I've taken up $50,000 worth of my time already. I mean, I can tell you how valuable my time is. And how much time I paid out. It's a lot. It's way more than $3,000.
Well, I think for us, it's not that. There's an enterprise value that $3,000 is tied to that makes it much more material. And I think, as I understand the council's perspective, that's what the limiting factor is, so that you don't have everyone and their brother coming up and saying, I want to, look at my specific situation if it doesn't warrant, the materiality isn't there.
Well, what I'm saying is, don't make the limit so high, because I want a piece of the pie too. I think, personally, I just do pay my sewer tax. I don't think how much of it disappears, but they're gonna get something. Me and Chuck might want some. I didn't call the boys. They use a lot of water too. I don't think we use that much.
It's automatic car washing we had a study and
I was told, yeah, study said that they're going to have to, I mean, like if they come in front of the board, they're going to have to do the same thing we did.
yeah, it wasn't, these numbers aren't just, we just asked for a discount because we kind of thought that this is how much water we think we're losing from studies done to show how much water is carried out with an automatic car wash.
Well, I think an automatic truck wash can carry out more.
So proportionally, I think that's pretty.
So I'd surely be able to ask them a bigger percentage.
But if you get the information and get it to them and they vote for you, would. Absolutely.
I just don't think I go through that much water. I'm gonna be looking though.
Philip, is your new truck wash automatic?
Yes. I never ever gets a bill in my lifetime.
Philip's the best.
You can start renting that out for trucks to come through, you can automatic wash put in.
Or I'm not planning on it, but I don't know. Maybe I will. No, it'll wash cars, it'll wash whatever. It doesn't matter what you put in it.
RVs.
Mm-hmm.
You might have some with RV and stuff too. Stuff around
I
like,
don't know.
something that's with it, yeah.
But, it's an option.
Huh?
I just think $3,000 for council to change everything would be silly.
To make an ordinance.
Especially when they don't have any money now. What they'll do is they'll give you the savings, they gotta raise the rest of us up, get their $3,000 back.
Well, as I understand the ordinance, there's no special favor for any industry or business. It's strictly targeted towards people who are in a situation.
And they already do it now for other
And there's other
businesses.
businesses that are already getting the discount.
Yeah.
There is.
Absolutely, yeah. Ricketts, Monroe City, right?
Whoa, but those are meters that the water doesn't even have.
There's two different ways to do it right there. It says, they're
Well,
explaining that
That's
to
what
you.
the ordinance would.
right now, there's only the
Yeah,
one.
right now there's no.
This
Because
is-
there's no way to measure in the car wash, in mine, there's no way to measure.
Unless you,
Without studies, we've already presented.
How can you get the study if you can't measure?
Yes. There's a closed
So they-
environment.
So as the cars, and trucks walk, drive out, and get on the highway,
What
It's actually, they're using.
closed off environment is done by the International Car Wash Association.
Yeah, they actually
They
did.
cross about 8 car washes.
somebody disagreement.
That's true, but you got the school uses an evaporation system on their air conditioner, they go through 300 gallons that evaporates a day.
Well, that's what, I think that's the point of the $250,000.
250,000 gallons.
It's sort of basically, there's a materiality threshold where the council would get bogged down. It's something that's de minimis.
So I guess it'd be like me saying, I'm zoned industrial, but I don't get industrial price gas or electricity because I'm not a factory.
Say that again?
Didn't I make us get a break on their gas? Because they use so much of it?
Yeah, they,
Yeah,
so many, gas,
because they was a manufacturer.
yeah, mine too.
Yeah. No, didn't have burn enough gas.
Nothing like they did,
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
nothing like Coors did. So,
I'm listening.
let's look at this, cheaper trailer. More powerful pumps. Same thing for me today.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. What is the shift?
I'm just patiently waiting.
share with the group. Yes.
What are y'all working on?
Well, Mike was wondering about what the actual total was gonna be at different rates, but it's not matching up with what we talked about earlier, and yeah, so, I mean, right, cause I don't know what I'm missing, it's 11, but that's per app of 2.11.
Right.
Yeah, so that's 1,000, that's 800, so they paid 900 a year. And so that's roughly, I mean, it's slightly, but, so their total would be, and that's just on the water side, would be like 12,000. That's sewer payment, so that would be a good idea.
Sorry.
I just noticed something. That's not right.
Oh, well, yeah, we're not talking. That was what was sent to me.
That's interesting.
So is the clerk, you got the clerk gonna look at the bill every month to make sure?
It's annual, once a year.
Once a year, like the sewer savers.
It's 11 cents per 1,000 gallons. Isn't
And
it?
then, in the first quarter of the new fiscal,
So it's how much they use in a year?
and it needs to average the 25, or 250,000. Once a year.
so.
So you'd get Mr. Potterfield, you would get
Rebate credit.
a rebate or a credit on your account for the first quarter.
I'm just figuring, cause you figure that, you're gonna figure monthly, you're gonna just look at the end of the year and see if they used,
This way this reads would be at the end of the year.
that's like, what, 3 million gallons, 250,000 a month.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
So at the end of the year, if you have to use over 3 million gallons to qualify. It wouldn't be based on a month, each month.
Right.
It's gonna be a yearly.
And then what it looks like, if I'm reading this right, it looks like that your average monthly has to be 250,000. So you do it the whole year divided by 12. So yeah,
Yeah. Where does it say what I use? For a month.
See, I think they're confusing that, so like.
Say about 14, 15,000 a month. What do you-
It's, they got messed up.
Well, let's discuss that. Let's
You use 16,000.
let's discuss that instead of yeah.
Yeah, we can, yeah. It's my conclusion, I think the hundred versus the thousand is a bit confusing people. Because a lot of people assume it's per hundreds.
But it's billed in thousands.
The number on the bill is 100.
Okay.
We don't use.
But it's 11 cents per thousand, but the number on the
The
bill.
number on the sheet was 812, when I looked at the.
So like 812, that's 812 hundredths. So you're using like 800, no, you're using 80,000.
That's what, no way we're using.
Yeah, that's why,
That's what I'm thinking.
that's why the
Winter, you
confusion.
should use 13, but I mean, that's not the norm.
Right.
So,
So
So,
you're using 80,000 a month.
yeah.
So it should just take a zero off of
so if you,
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of the, I don't have any idea how many customers we have over a certain amount, whether.
No, I think we'd be the highest.
Yeah,
If ours is 80,000 gallons a month, when you use it, probably 20,000 gallons a month.
The elevator use more than you all.
Well, yeah.
What's the spray?
Rick's does when it's raining, busy.
Right, but they got a separate meter.
Yeah.
Some of the motels, Belfield Estates, they use more water than you guys. They're a top contender of the water users.
How are they invoiced? Like one bill?
There we go.
The Belfield takes all the water for their whole apartment building.
But that all goes back into the wastewater system.
that's how it's billed, yeah.
But we're talking about what's actually was in the grant, they'll do all that.
I don't understand. And people like Rick gets an elevator and ready mix up there, it's got a separate meter. Because there's no way,
They've got this two different ways. You can do it by the meter or you can do it by.
oh, but there's no way our truck and car washes can do it by meter.
That's what I said.
That's why we're
That's
talking
two
about
different ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the things that they were presenting is that there's, they can't put a meter on it. You guys can't put a meter on it to measure how much is evaporating or splashing out. I mean, that can't be metered. And for George, basically, because the question's asked about, well, can you meter the sewer flow? And not really, because anything you put on that is just going to be
It's just
clogged.
leaks out.
Yes, there's no flow.
It's like a leach field, not like a fast moving. It's not like in your meter where
Yeah, you don't have
like my meter
you don't have-
runs, you see it go through.
You don't
Goes
have-
through too slow.
Yeah,
But as far as the 250,000 gallons, that would cut
It's
every
just-
single person out.
Yeah, it's just gonna take.
And the 25 might not even.
No, it looks to me like most I use is 19,000
Per month?
per month.
But you don't even have, but your wash is not operational, right?
That's true. You might go over that.
True, we're still doing it by wands right now.
The wands don't use near the water.
You might hit it then.
There's about, I mean, how many nozzles are on that automatic truck wash? Each one of those probably equivalent to your one.
Oh, don't take it long. I won't be paying them worse ways. It
So
won't
what
take-
is an equitable amount that you think it needs to be per month?
At 250, you're all not even gonna make it.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
would,
That was.
Well, I think that
measured-
was a mistake from looking at the billing cycle.
The hundreds versus the thousands.
Building is a lot of thousands, which is what it says on the statement, but then the number it gives you is in thousands, or hundreds.
Yeah.
Well,
That's,
that's still gonna get you to 80. Wait, what did we say, 25,000, right?
We're 80,000.
You're asking for two, or they were saying 250, was 25.
It's really 25,000.
They should have been in there, yeah.
25 will be,
it not
Well,
now.
It might when your automatic is in.
maybe.
And then you're still gonna have to come up here and prove that it.
And it's averaged over the 12 months.
Then they're gonna run out of money, they're just gonna have to raise the price anyway.
No, because you're gonna make more money on the water you're using.
Yeah, we'll be buying more, newer, or,
You're recycling, right?
Some.
some, yeah. But we're also upgrading our electric.
We're not recycling.
We're putting in 800. Recycle.
Yeah, I had an option too.
There should be
That's a week.
25,000.
That's a week.
Month, average monthly water usage.
Well, in what?
if you recycle or not recycle, I think when they recycle, they actually lose more percentage because every time you run through the system, and I haven't like spent, days on it or nothing, but looking through the papers, because every time it runs through the system, you lose a little bit of that. So you lose the recycled water over and over every time you spray it on the vehicle.
You lose a percentage of it.
Yeah, you use a percentage of it each time, and so it adds up to be a little bit more percentage of your fresh use because each circuit that it went through, it lost a certain amount.
Makes
And you say you lost, yeah, I mean, that's basically, so it loses a little higher percentage from the recycling.
So you all drying? I think you put a dryer on mine. You all drying? Well, then it'll be dry, you shouldn't have a waste.
What are you talking about?
You dry the cars, vehicles, so they,
We're going to recycle our reverse osmosis water.
why are you laughing?
Because you ain't get no brain. That's just gonna increase the speed of the evaporation. The water's already gonna be it's already through the pit.
We're not
blow back.
Last one I was in, it blew it down.
Yeah.
So, did you have your last bill, Vince?
There's 812.
Okay, that's 8,100, is that right?
80,000.
80,120 was your last bill.
That's, yeah, I mean, we use about, that's about average. Yeah, we use there to, 100,000 gallons, 80 to 100,000 gallons a month.
Yeah, we used about $1 million per year.
Yeah.
That's what we changed.
What, did you, just for the board's benefit, what do you think you might see for an increase, potentially an increase in your customers, so potentially increase in your annual water? I mean, just to throw a number at it, was it 20%, 25%?
I'm gonna say that the electricity's gonna go up a lot more than the water, because we're talking about the dryers. So that we're gonna be pulling 4 times as much amperage as we were.
Okay,
And then the water's probably, I would say 10%, maybe 15%. Probably
10, 15%?
There'll be longer washes because there's more rinse.
It's actually, there's like 12 different things you can do as opposed to 3 or, what have you. And they said that they're 6.5 minutes, and right now they're 4.5.
Our average is right now our average wash time is a little over 3 minutes, and we're gonna have a 6-minute wash.
Yeah.
So if you wash the same number of vehicles, theoretically, at least a 50% increase in volume.
How many bays you guys gonna have?
Same day, it's just one automatic and then the 4 cells.
Okay, so this we would need to revise to 25,000 gallons, average monthly water usage of 25,000. Over
On their
25,000.
peak months, that put them at over a 50% reduction.
Average over 12 months is 86,
Yeah, that's,
86.7.
The 25 would allow people, others to fall in there.
exactly, yes.
So what are you looking at? How much? 86?
Depends on what percentage you set it at.
No, their current usage, total, all 12 months divided by 12, averages 86.7 thousand gallons a month.
86. Okay, what do we want to do?
Has John seen this ordinance?
I emailed it to him, but that was with the at 250,000 gallons.
Well, yeah, I guess the exact number wasn't touched.
So I kind of think what we're thinking about tonight is, in theory, do we want to do this? The percentage-based volume reduction is something we can discuss, but in theory, do we want to amend the user rate structure? We know it's going to be based upon verifiable data. We have set we would have set the criteria for the monthly water usage, and then we would determine what percentage we want to reduce it by.
And that would be an individual one depending on the business and what information you have.
What?
So like each one, we would come in, you have a council, and you'd say, this is your number for this business.
Is there other towns that do this around here?
We could.
Excuse me?
Other towns that have a program like this?
What was George's report back? Do you recall?
I didn't discuss it with him.
Well, we've already got it in place.
No, his report said no.
Are there
Said
other-
no.
Are there other towns that do sewer savers?
Yes.
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 I'm wondering if there's any other towns that do this kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, this.
According to People Services, if I remember correctly, his answer was he contacted other municipalities. And of course, People Services, I guess, has, I don't know, several different cities listing him. But he didn't give me specifics, but I do recall that I think it was pretty much a no. If is that correct? What you recall? A no?
Well, I know, I'm sure that other municipalities that have some of this logistics do it based on.
Sure. If you, this is just information, if you were to do something based upon a bogey, which would be an average annual usage, would then kick in a specific percentage reduction for all customers. That would negate the requirement for anyone to come before the board to state a specific case.
No, because it can't be just.
We
It has to be.
Users judges to this, yeah.
basically what you
Yeah.
There won't be,
That's
no-
how, that wouldn't be work.
nobody be up there.
But if it's just based on usage, I don't want to do that because
That's what it says, though.
no, verifiable. It has to be based. The reduction has to be based on an acceptable and verifiable analysis. Meaning, we know they're losing
Oh.
water,
Okay,
we don't-
I missed that part.
so it
Now-
just can't
now
be
it
a high
becomes-
water user.
Yeah, now it becomes
Because
very,
we know
very
it's going in the
difficult.
wastewater system.
It becomes very, very difficult to figure out what the percent should be because of that, right? I mean,
Well, I mean, it
But it-
becomes an individual decision for each
oh,
position, I would say.
But
that's
it's
gonna be very.
That
very
right there is the only part I don't like because it's individualized.
I mean, you could base it on, I mean, John, maybe someone mentioned we could base it on a class of business, like we could say car washes or something.
He advised against doing that.
Yes, but I mean, that was one thing that somebody mentioned that we could do something like that.
I was kind of, doesn't matter what I don't vote, but I was more inclined to understand applicability was based upon total, what you had relative
So like
to.
having a second rate
If
tier.
you use 1,000,000 gallons, you get this much reduction. But beyond that, I see a potential problem because I don't know.
Well, what if you're
Speaking for
using a
myself.
million gallons and we know it's all going in the wastewater system?
Yeah, you don't want to reduce
Then
that.
what's the point of,
Yeah.
what's
I
the
think
point
we're
of
making
reducing?
this
Well,
more
how
difficult.
many utility customers use use 1,000,000 gallons a year? I mean, or 250,000 gallons a year? How many, I mean, it can't be that many, it's gotta be on one hand.
5?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then
I mean,
of those
That's
five,
valid.
we have to have a case that, hey, we're not using this much water, and this is why we believe this. And then the board, it's not, I mean, this is 5 customers over a lifetime, right? I mean, unless there's a bunch of new businesses.
And
that are
some of
being
those
ordered.
already using sewer
It's
systems.
extremely logical. You use logic, if you look at information, I mean, it's simple, really. There should be no problem. Now, you could, like I say, if we come in saying, well, it shows 32%, well, that doesn't mean you have to give us 32, but like 25, it would be deemed reasonable. 20 would be deemed reasonable. 3% is not reasonable. And so if he's got 3% going up, and that's all he's got going up, well, it's not reasonable. I mean, if it could be 0% to 3%, then it's not reasonable to say 20%. But he's got to prove it, everybody's got to prove it.
You really only gonna save $3,000 a year?
That is irrelevant. No, that's what we're talking about.
Because then not only be saving maybe $1,000.
That's
Right,
that's
that's the point. If you guys come up, you want to waste 14 of your days to do what I've been doing? I mean, probably not. Then don't do
I
it.
think I am smarter than you.
I know you are now. I didn't think it'd come to this.
Okay, come on. Let's try to get through this. Sounds like to me that we're not making much progress.
I think it's still worth taking it to the board, let them vote on it.
Taking what to them?
This is the board. This is a special council meeting.
This is it. I'm not opposed to a discount. Based on the information we have. And setting up the ordinance to a certain usage, total usage rate.
Are you comfortable with the 25,000 gallons average monthly usage?
Why are we making it 25 when their average is 86?
Well, I guess,
To let people like me and Chuck in.
It's not a special interest thing.
yeah, I'm not writing this for Jerry and Vince. I mean,
I
clean.
guess, in that case, it has kind of a subject point of view. At a certain point, you get too small, it doesn't make it worth anybody's time. Now, I don't know where that number is, because somebody might say, well, it's worth $100 or whatever for me to go to the council, but yeah, so there's a number so that makes sense to me, maybe on having a limit on the lower end. I'm not against the idea in practice. My biggest concern is how we clearly and fairly implement it. It keeps giving me troubles in figuring out how. It's in some cases it's simple enough to say, okay, here's your discount, but trying to figure out how that we practically manage it for whatever.
You're talking about the percentage.
If we use 20,
Percentage is not that big a deal.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
if we use 25,000, you'll have at least 13 customers
13.
that'll be up here. At least 13.
Every month they use 25,000.
Yeah.
Even residential
Can they-
use
Yes.
25,000.
Can they verify that it's
I'm
not
sorry.
going
I
in
got
the
to
wastewater system?
take off 2. You'll have 11. You'll have Aspect, Ricketts, Farmers Elevator, Belfield Estates, Monroe City Manor, Monroe City R1 School. We'll talk about the swimming pool. We pay ourselves. Seriously, we do.
Yeah, we don't discount ourselves.
No, we don't discount ourselves. GC Potterfield, 5th Street Apartments, Clean Getaway, and Fast Lane.
How many of those go directly into the wastewater system? They don't have
No, that's
evaporation.
not what I'm saying.
We're saying it
We're
has to be.
saying that we give them an opportunity to come before the board and argue that they get to have a percentage increase based on some data they're going to present to us. All I was saying was we can expect to have
That many.
11 people show up.
And
Out
that's
of
not
those 11
terrible.
people, can they,
That's 11 people over the lifetime of the town.
Yeah, that's
And
only
they
people over the
also
lifetime,
utilize-
not over a month, over the lifetime.
a sewer saver, where these,
Some of them have sewer savers.
And Ricketts already does theirs. Ricketts is already out anyway. Elevator's already out anyway. So that's 2 more. Because theirs is already done.
Minor City Ready Mix would already be.
Yeah, theirs already done. So that's 3 more. So now you're down to 8.
And
7, I won't be back.
7.
Yeah, after that.
All I was trying to do was paint a picture of who's going to come up here potentially and what is their argument going to be. And how they, they're going to want something. How are you going to, if they have a difficult time explaining, I guess the answer is if you can't explain it, you can't do it. But who on this board is capable of making those judgments?
Well, I think some of it's obvious.
Maybe.
I mean,
If not,
if they flush the toilet, they run water down the sink, they use a dishwasher, it all goes in the wastewater system. Unless there's something about some of them,
I don't, that's it. I don't know either. To me, it was a lot simpler when the discussion was if you use over this many gallons. If you use over this many gallons per year, on the average, you get a certain percentage discount, period.
We'll do it that way, then you'll have a lot more discounts you can have to give out.
No.
That'd be like a separate rate structure, basically. We have tiered rate. Is that what you're talking about? I'm not against tiered rates in some cases because some of the large deals are more economical to handle. I don't know exactly though. That would be more. Remind me that I talked more like with George to see whether that's really scaled out or not on these cases. But that wasn't originally what they asked for.
Vince?
I mean, we put together a pretty robust package with multiple studies, and you've seen the trouble that we've gone through to get approved on any discount. I can't imagine any other customer that's going to have a better data set or package. And there's only 8 of them that are even possibly eligible with the $25,000 limitation. And
probably 4 of those have no.
And aspect, all these other, I mean, those guys are not, that's not, where would they be wasting that much water and why would they care? I mean, I think it's a bit of a corner case.
And I also don't think it's fair to the city to make it to give us a discount just because we use water. I mean,
we need
it needs to be quantifiable. I mean, it needs to be, because we showed you
that we're
not using it, so don't charge us for it.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody else ought to have to do.
And the way it's written when I saw it is that there's no special interest for the car wash. It's simply based off of you use what you have and prove that you're not using it, which I think we've done as well as we can.
But when you put limits at 25,000, that knocks everybody out.
Well, it's not. You've said it yourself. It's not worth the council's time to go down a
Chase
the tail developer.
Like I save $900 or $800 a year in my house on my sewer saver, because I feed, pool, animals, all that other crap. Well, it's worth it. But I also had for 15 years where I could have saved $13 and I never brought it in because it wasn't worth it. So I'm bringing it in now.
I'll wait 2 or 3 years before I bring it
Okay, well,
are we comfortable with the gallon amount?
It just that you said, without this counting individual ones, you said that was roughly 11 customers that would be over that 25,000 you thought.
Yeah.
And just to kind of get a scale of things, if it was 10,000 a month average, does that make it 100 customers?
I can't answer that.
I don't know how much you
These
have.
are weekly averages for like, this was just for this month, 1 week out of this month. Clean getaway was, well, wow. So I guess that'd be a 6-day period. I'm not sure how these dates work, but from 6/2 through 6/8, it was 9,169 gallons. So if you take that times, that was an average number for June. Going back and look at history, it looks like February was your highest month this year at 112,000 gallons. Is what it looks like for February.
Yeah, it runs the whole time.
And then, and what's interesting is February was last year, same way.
Yeah, that's what Ben said last meeting.
Okay. And then, did you own it in 23? No.
I bought in October of 23.
Yeah.
I've had a year and a half.
Okay. Well, anyway, just for your knowledge, looks like, wow. February, that was on 85,000, but April was 100,000. May was of 2023 was 120,000. June of 2023 was 150,000.
Usually,
It was busy.
the busiest months are
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
Like when you have a big snow, then everybody cleans off the bottom of the car too, and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the snows are actually, you would think July is like your busiest month, and it's not. And then another thing is when farmers start stirring up dirt. Like when they're combining, like we'll do 100 a day.
Oh.
Yeah, pollen's big too. Yes, polar opposite of what you think. But like the winter months are actually some of our best months.
Anyway, if the limit's at 25, you're looking at, what is that? Is that $2,500 a month? And if you're using, I'm trying to figure out, like we were talking about what the lower limit would be. How much savings? Well, that's 1/4 of what they were talking about.
Probably $100 a month.
You also gotta assume it's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be probably less than 50%, otherwise you'd be able to, well, it's less than 100% because otherwise you can meter it, right?
Yeah.
You have the meter option.
I was just trying to figure out.
We're saying at 30% or whatever we said would be $100. At 25,000. And some people might come in and have 0 or 5%.
Right.
What, now I want to draw attention to something, okay? I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. But for the very specific request related to car wash, and the day they submitted was related to a car wash, and I think 32% was, I'll use my phraseology, the high end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to caution, Jerry may throw something at me, but I'm going to caution you that we need to run these numbers and look at the averages and take what they're recommending as what they think their increase is going to be in percentage. And they would love for us to give them more than a 32% reduction. I know they would, but since they didn't ask for that, I'm going to suggest we don't. Like I said, he may throw something at me, but yeah, but I'm just going to say this: if you use $25,000 gallons per month as the starting point, and let's say you pick 20%, they'll at the end of the year they'll get more than a 30% reduction. The math is pretty square. So we need to look, because I'm doing this but for these guys' requests, we wouldn't even be here. Okay.
Maybe that's not a bad thing.
So what I'm thinking is we need to kind of figure out what this looks like dollars and cents wise based on what their historic usage has been, and then add.
Mike's been $25,000 just to qualify, but there's nothing to do with the price or the actual.
Yeah, ours was actually 86,000.
It's based on what we use.
Yeah, so like in our 86,000, if you did 30%, the 25 has nothing to do with us at all. If we're doing 86,000, and
we qualify.
And we qualified, and then if you agree that we're at 25, 30% or whatever, well, right now that's about $3,000 a year, 3 to 4, depending on. So if you're $2,000, if you do that, it's going to be, if you say 20%, it's going to be like $2,000 a year. 30% is going to be, yeah.
20% would be $1,699 a year. 15% would be $1,275 a year. 10% would be $850 a year based on this last 12 months usage that we were provided.
And so the 25,000, I guess that was our original question. This last bit of discussion was, is 25,000 a good number? And I started thinking you start getting below 25,000, and you're really getting into smaller numbers. Where as Philip stated, is like, who's going to bother coming up here? Or we're not going to bother discussing a lot of time on that.
Okay.
So yeah, that number does not sound like a bad.
What number?
25,000
gallons.
go off me.
25,000 gallon average monthly usage.
And then, and I said that general pose like it's been, they got evidence it's not being used.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how clarifying with like with John and how it's going to practically be. To go back to the point of the last meeting, it's like, well, we got to pass an ordinance, and just want to know practically how we would manage it on a
Right, does
daily
it
basis.
be an ordinance or does it need to be a tiered structure?
Okay. So 25,000 is a qualifier. Average monthly. Because you're qualified.
And so the
Then
way
you
we
establish a percentage.
can establish a percentage based on their presented documentation.
This is where I think you're opening up a can of worms. Because to me, this is a protection for the city, and it's a service to very high-end water users who we know it's not all going in the wastewater system. If you just say 25,000 gallons average monthly.
No, we're not saying every just saying that if you have the 25,000 average monthly,
You qualify.
you qualify for the
Industrial,
program.
commercial.
You qualified to come up here
Qualified,
and request.
But then they still have to
You still have to
present.
present.
Well, then that's what this says. That's
Yeah,
exactly
it
what
says
this
it.
says.
We've gone full circle.
Okay, that's exactly what this says.
But so then it's just my question is it'll come down to though figuring out what that
The
exact
percent.
process is. Well, we'll have to decide on a percent as council. That's what you guys said here. It's just to me then what's that process look like in the approvals or like I said, do we pass an ordinance that says this location gets
You've got a good point, but the language I think kind of works in your favor. It can be a double-edged sword. Okay, if someone comes in with an industry standard, like these guys do.
yeah.
Okay, you can kind of go, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. If someone who's qualified by virtue of this quantity, they would be required to come before the board individually and state their case.
Right. And it's got to be verifiable.
And it would be, okay, here's a presentation from the, Scientific American magazine. Heck, I don't know. But I hear what you're saying. Okay, we've gone full circle.
We have.
And I think I understand a lot more about what's written now than I did the first time I read it. That's a funny thing about some of these ordinances are a little bit.
Sometimes you got to talk it out.
Yep.
You just got to talk it out. I'll make a motion to approve the change to the actual user rate structure with the correction of average monthly water usage of 25,000 gallons or over, with the remainder of the wording being the same.
Do you need to, and I apologize.
Go ahead.
Do you need to expand? Do you need to expand on? Nah, I guess you really don't. It says usage less an annual percentage volume reduction based upon an acceptable and verifiable analysis as determined by a majority vote of the Board of Aldermen. Okay, I mean, I can see where there may come a time when people are going to be unhappy with your vote.
It won't be the first time.
It won't be the first time. It won't be the last. Okay, so then, are you going to assign a maximum percentage this
Not at this time.
of a reduction?
No. Case by case.
Yes?
Quick question. So this is an amendment to our current
Yes.
ordinance?
Mhm.
Okay, so we would need to, is your motion to
Move it forward.
draft?
Mhm.
Okay,
To draft an amendment?
But you're not setting the percentage in this motion.
I
Because
think
we would have to set a
Would,
percentage.
I mean, with the way the ordinance is written, wouldn't it empower the board of aldermen to review on a case-by-case basis and not just pass a specific ordinance for each case, or?
Oh, absolutely.
that was my
Oh,
thought.
absolutely. I was looking for a maximum.
Yeah.
It's like if they pass it, they ought to be able to vote right now, but it's not gonna be part of the same ordinance, it's not part of the ordinance.
Yeah, right.
So what they're going to vote on tonight, she got a motion on the floor to draft an amendment to the existing ordinance. You know how ordinances work here, you've been up here. So we have a motion on the floor to draft an amendment as stated to the existing sewer rate ordinance. Do we have a second?
second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to initiate a draft amendment to the existing sewer rate ordinance. This by voice or just ayes and nays?
Ayes and nays.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Anything else?
So we still haven't determined any percentage though.
It
No,
will
we
be
would have to
And
pass.
that would be the issue.
case by case. I mean, some people won't have a high
Case by
loss.
case.
Some people will have a
We
very.
have a case in front of us.
Mhm.
So
We don't
are
have
going to
ordinance.
determine-
We don't have
So
ordinance.
Once we get the ordinance
we can
passed,
just establish.
what I'm thinking, once the ordinance is passed,
Oh, we have to wait until the
yeah,
actual
we
ordinance.
have to wait
This
till the
is-
ordinance is passed, and once the ordinance is passed, then we get to revisit this individual case by case.
What's no, I'm sorry for being,
Next council meeting, won't
what
we?
is, I don't know what the process is.
What's the
It has to
advertisement?
be posted, and so what's the minimum time?
We have time prior to the next council meeting.
Yeah, the next council meeting will be
Like-
June 18th.
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks.
I would say, yeah,
Has to be 8 days. How long do we have to advertise it for?
You know, advertising.
There is no minimum.
I was thinking it was a week or something.
We do post it prior to meetings for everyone's view.
and so that has to be 24 hours, it's meeting, it's 24 hours,
The
right?
meeting has to be
Yeah,
posted.
so.
Thanks for the discussion. Thanks for the discussion.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the
Thank
discussion.
you.
What's this?
Credit card bill.
Oh,
We have a closed session on the agenda.
yeah, gentlemen, thank you for your
Thank you.
patience.
Thanks for the discussion.
Yep.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Philip, thank you for coming, buddy.
Keep using that water, Bill. Use some more water. Grumpy old man.
You should talk to
Grumpy
him.
old man.
Okay.
You wanna cut that, Mike?
As soon as we go to closed session.
You got hold of
We
that.
need to, we have on here next to go into closed session. How do we do that?
I'll move we go into closed session, pursuant to RSMO 61021, hiring, firing, discipline, or promoting future employees by government body when personal information about the employee is discussed or recorded.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to go into a closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.0213, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employees discussed or recorded. Does this have to be in a closed session?
She wants it to be. We're close.
All in favor say, oh yeah.
All this way.
Yes.
Alderman Snyder?
Yes.
Alderman Simpson?
Yes.
Alderman Saunders?
Yes.
We're in closed session. Vote on that?
I need to.
Okay.
Alderman Snyder?
Yes.
Alderman Simpson?
Mhm.
Alderman Saunders?
Yes.
Alderman Smith?
Yes.
We're in open session.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for deputy city clerk / administrative assistant and also treasurer / human resource officer for the city members.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the job descriptions for the treasurer / HR / plus license office and also the separate job description for deputy city clerk / administrative assistant.
No license office.
No license office.
That was removed.
Those are the ones that are scratched out.
Okay, I said the first one was for the treasurer.
You said license office too,
Yeah, I did.
but no license office.
On the treasurer, yes.
No, she took that off, she said. She's doing that now.
Sorry. Go ahead, finish.
She is still doing that, yes, and she wrote that here, plus license office.
Yeah, she wrote it on here.
These are
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and the other one doesn't have it on it. So the second one says deputy city clerk / administrative assistant. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next thing is we seek the board's permission to advertise for the deputy city clerk / administrative assistant.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to advertise for a deputy city clerk and administrative assistant. We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second and a third on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. The ayes have it, motion carries. I'm sorry. Get it right eventually. After 2 or 3 years, I'll have this down pat. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We're adjourned.